Farms, and we're going to move to limited light super stocks, and then Super Mod two-wheel drives be our third class up, and fourth class is going to be 10,000-pound pro stock tractors tonight, and then our last class we're going to round things out with our 9,500 limited pros. So it's going to be a big night of pulling here at the Green County Fair. We're going to get going here in just a couple of minutes. And at this time, before we get rolling here, folks, I ask you all to please rise, and gentlemen, take your hats off as we pay tribute to this great country that we are so fortunate to live in as free Americans. Our Old Glory's looking pretty good in the breeze up there while we play our national anthem. All right, the greatest song in all the land. We're just about ready to go for our big pull here tonight. 5 classes, I think I said we got ready to roll. And at first we got our Green County Fairest of the Fair here, Kiara Brunner. She's got a few things she wants to say. Kiara, congratulations, Fairest of the Fair.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Day 3 of the Green County Fair. My name is Kiara Brunner, and I'm the 2026 Green County Fairest of the Fair. I hope you've been enjoying all the livestock shows, exhibits, delicious fair food, and fun throughout the week. Make sure you check out the QR code and link posted on the Fairest of the Fair Instagram page and Facebook page to participate in an online auction supporting the Green County Fairest of the Fair program. Tomorrow we have the Fur and Feather auction at 9:30 a.m. and the meat auction will follow. In the grandstands tomorrow night, we have the monster trucks. Thank you for supporting our exhibitors and our fair, and enjoy another great night at the Green County Fair. I also have our list of our Green County Fairground partners. Our building partners include Grandstand, Dynamic Agronomics, Stock Pavilion, Green County Farm Bureau /FS/Rural Mutual Insurance, Open Dairy Barn number 4, Coon North America, Open Dairy Barn number 5, Tri-County Dairy Supply, The Dairy Barn, Banca New Glarus, Show Barn, Rebecca Madrell and Julian Elmer of Exit Professional Realty. The Beef Barn is Ag Wash. The Sheep and Goat Barn is T&L Trunking. Also, Annex is T&L Trunking. The Youth in Action is Figgy Financial, and Northgate is Figgy Financial. Our general partners include Big Radio, Broadhead Veterinary Medical Center, Carousel Farms, Carousel Grain Service, Clarendon Lumber and Supply, Compeer Financial, Democratic Party of Green County, Eastland Feed and Grain, Eastside Farm Equipment, Elmer Meats LLC, Foreign Type Cheesemakers Association, Hollett Annex, J Creek Farms LLC, KK Lawn and Sport, Klondike Farms, McDonald Plastic Molding, Metz Welding, Monroe Glass Company, Monroe Power Sports, Peck Valley ATVers of Monticello, Precision Drive and Control, Premier Co-op, Ruta Chevrolet Toyota, Woodford State Bank, and Zwiefel Construction. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the polls tonight.
Thank you, Kiera. And let's give her a big hand, Kiera Brunner, fairest of the fair for 2026. And we're ready to go pulling, and we're going to start blowing some smoke, and the way the wind's blowing, I think we might be blowing our smoke back up to Canada to kind of pay them folks back. Steve Aldhouse is going to be our first puller. We got 15 of them entered up here in our first class tonight, the 466 Hot Farms. Steve Aldhouse out of Sublette, Illinois, going to be our first puller with a John Deere 4455. That didn't sound good right off the bat. I don't know. He's starting to get the turbo boost up, and then it didn't seem like it was going to take off. Then it started letting the clutch out, and the tractor hopped a couple of times like a bunny rabbit, and that's about it. He's got a boatload of options here. They can pull him back, and he'll get one more crack at it, and he's still a test puller, so he'll have a few cracks to get this thing wheeled up and down the track. All right, they pull him back. He's going to give it another crack here. Let's see if he can get it wound up a little better this time. I don't know. It looks like the water injection's coming on and just drowning the motor out. And I think they might be, one thing about it, there's 15 tractors in the class, so he'll have a fair amount of time to take it back and look at it. But you see that the smoke was coming up nice and black, and then all of a sudden it just turned white in a hurry. And what that generally means is the water injection's coming on way too early and flooding the motor out. So he's going to drive it off the track, and he'll have a fair amount of time to look it over. Meanwhile, his buddies are going to be like, get the toolbox, where's the gator, and all that good stuff. They'll be running around looking for everything they think they might need. He'll drop to the end and see if he can get her sorted out. Hopefully we can see him come back. Comes all the way up from Sublette, Illinois. Next guy is not quite as far. Ben Hayen out of Milledgeville. And although Pat Outhouse was our test puller, he really didn't give us much of a shake on the sled at all. And we didn't learn much, but that is our test pull. So Ben Hayen's going to have to lay down a good run and see what he thinks. And right off the bat, Ben Hayen moves the sled over a little bit from where Pat Outhouse was going to take off at. He moves it over to the right-hand side a little bit. Want to remind you all, coming up, the 20th annual Green County Fall Nationals, September 12th, right here at the fairgrounds. We're going to start pulling at noon, and the band's going to start approximately at 7:30. 9 classes. That'll be brought to you by Washington Implement. September 12th, the 20th annual Green County Fall Nationals. All right, Ben Hayen ready to go here. From Milledgeville, calls it dozing through. These guys been running pretty good as of late. Should give us a pretty good shake on the sled. boy. I hope not, but it sure sounded like it. He gave us a good shake on the sled. He sent our flag man running the other way pretty quickly. And boy, he's way out past 300. We're going to see what they're going to say about that part of it. He wasn't going to go any further, though. He was pretty well spinning out when the turbocharger decided to exit. Yeah, we got to get him a toe off. The Terminator weight transfer machine, it had transferred everything out, and he was slowing down. He was just about spun out, and then all of a sudden you heard that pop right at the end. And take a look at our big screen down there. Ryan Zolik, our head IT guy for the Badger State Tractor Pullers, he'll show us a replay and see if we can catch it visually right at the end of the run when it looked like the turbocharger give it up. Well, we'll see if they're going to do it with the sled. He was out past 300, a fair amount, but he was done. And they had a little bit more room yet. We'll see what they say. We don't like running these guys 400 feet by any means. All right, the distance 368. You see it on the board, 368.73. And watch those right there at the end. The video didn't do it justice, but they're going to leave the sled. They're going to let him run. I like it. They're going to leave the sled, and probably for a couple of reasons. They know Ben Hand's not going to be able to come back. That turbocharger is junk. At least part of it is anyway. And that was a pretty good run. He was, them guys have been running pretty darn good as of late, so we'll see if that stands the test of time. See if he can win enough prize money to cover his shipping on getting his turbocharger fixed. This is going to be Rich Suter from Stoughton, 1466. He calls overfueled. No, it just, he got into the turbo right away, and he just kept rolling with it. And he rolled it out past 100 feet, so I don't know if he's going to have any more options or not. He's a new guy to me. I haven't seen him run before. Rich Suter from Stoughton. 137.42, 137.42. Hell, motor's off the track. Just didn't get the boost built up on the turbocharger near enough to get a successful run down the track. This here going to be Lee Ruff out of Darlington with his Case IH. Calls it fair warning. He's also been running pretty stout as of late. I seen a lot of fair warnings t-shirts over in the Midway earlier, eating corn dogs and drinking lemonade shake-ups. And we're looking for some artwork for our Pulling for Youth t-shirts, or Pulling for You t-shirts that we give out for the American Family Children's Hospital for 2027. So if you got a little handy artwork in you, or you know somebody who does, we're going to be looking for something to make our new t-shirts for next year's fundraiser. All right, Lee Ruff ready to go. Puts the sled out in the middle of the track. Lee Ruff, he moves it up a little bit, 369.95. Look at on the big screen down there, 369.95. He goes around Ben Hayen by just a smidgen, like a little over a foot. Takes over the lead. I bet them guys like them big runs now. I was talking to one of the pullers earlier, and he says, I just don't know which gear to run. He says the track looks like it's going to be pretty good out there. It's going to be pretty sticky. Going to take a lot of power. And now they see that they're running 360 feet plus. You probably want to put her in a big gear. All right, we got some t-shirts we're going to get shot into the stands. And so put your hands up and get in a defensive mode, because who's got that t-shirt gun anyway? Is that Emily with the t-shirt gun? Yeah, I'd get in a defensive mode if I was you folks. Hey, is that Frank Molitor? He's out there too? And our t-shirts are sponsored by Channel Seed and the Red Cadillac Pulling Team. Channel Seed and the Red Cadillac Pulling Team, they're the ones that are sponsoring our t-shirt shots. And Frank, the bald guy out there, he's been married 42 years. Holy smokes. Here's going to be Sean Studer from Waterford with the Blue Viper. Sled hits him pretty good. Don't think he's going to catch Lee Ruff. Yeah, look out, the t-shirts are coming. The t-shirts are coming, and Emily's running one of the t-shirt guns. I'd watch out for that right there. Oh, look at, he cleared the stands. Up, and out of here. Now, these guys are pretty good tractor pullers, but as far as t-shirt gun shooters, I'm not so sure. 354.28 for Sean Struder. 354.24 for the Blue Viper Ford. Going to put him in third place thus far. All right, they still got ammunition over there, so I'd be careful. Oh, there goes one. And Emily shot that one. Good shot, Emily. Whoa, look at the arm on that guy. Who's got the big arm over there? Oh, that's Tanner? And April. Now, Tanner gives April the gun. Oh, boy. Look out, folks. Light limiteds to the scale. Light limited tractors. Mark Eastman would like to see you on the scale. Light limiteds. Take them on down to the scale. Boy, if this was Valentine's Day, I'd say this reminds me of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, the way they're shooting stuff off over there, and lining them up and blasting them out there. John Meyer Jr. Now they're putting their hands up out there. They're still reloading. They got a lot of ammunition. Uh-oh, Frank's got the gun now. Watch out. Been married 42 years and lost all of his hair. Hey, he's a pretty good shot. All right, here comes the still fueling around tractor of the Loofburrows. We got John Meyer Jr. listed as a driver here tonight. I can only go by what I see. I certainly can't tell if that's John in the seat or not. But it's a still fueling around tractor of the Loofburrows out of Milton. All right, John Meyer Jr. is driving for the Loofburrows here tonight. He used to be an old hot farm hot shoe, so this shouldn't be too surprising to him. See what we got for a distance for him. 351.03, 351.03. Boy, we had Ben Hay and Lee Ruff go out there to 368 and 369, and everybody else is struggling to come within 10 feet of that now. Lee Ruff got the better of that. Not only did he go a foot further, he didn't blow his turbocharger either. And our cell phone has been claimed. That was lost. Our cell phone has been claimed. That was lost. It was somebody's son, right? I'd boot him off my cell phone plan if he can't keep better track of it than that. Yeah. Speaking of cell phones, I don't know how many of you people used to be U.S. Cellular customers like I was, and we got booted up, we got sucked up by T-Mobile. Yeah, it was a smooth transition. It was not. Let's just put it that way. Here comes the other Loofburrow tractor. Now this is going to be Mike Loofburrow with this Case IH. They're just fueling around. This is the first tractor for the Loofburrows. He moves the sled over to the right-hand side of the track just a smidgen. Oh, looks like our T-shirt crew's all done. Hey, what? No more bullets? Hey, Laughing Boy, no more bullets? That's an old Bugs Bunny bit. Well, hopefully you all got a T-shirt. And they were courtesy of the folks at Channel Seeds and Red Cadillac Pulling Team. A big thanks to them guys supplying the T-shirts and shooting them out to you guys. Hopefully you all got one, or at least a few of you did anyway. This here is going to be just fueling around. Mike Loofburrow out of Milton. Guys are driving right into the sun here. a decent run at the beginning, but you can almost hear it like about 100 feet. The tires come up. The RPMs picked up a little bit, and the momentum slowed down. .48, 344.48, and the distances continue to drop off with each passing tractor. Want to thank some of our good help we have here for the Green County Fair. United Co-op, they supplied the water tank that we've been using out here, getting the track ready to go. Also Helm Equipment, they got a skid loader out here. Also MD Trucking Equipment, they got a telehandler that we've been using to load the sled up. Bart Ronak Equipment, also Mavis Brothers, they got equipment out here. Austin Scogan, he has also got a skid litter. Joe Tom with a pull-off tractor. Mark Wagner with a blade tractor. Also, we got Jonah Enke with on the roller tractor. And Sloan's, they're the chest tractor that was pulling the sled down here for us. And I guess that's Josh Enke's, Jonas Enke's Black Stripe 1466. That's a nice looking rig there. This here going to be Dave Baker from Polo. 1066, Dave Baker, he's a long-time puller, many-time point champion. Comes up from Polo, Illinois. Somebody just come out, ran into the porta bomb. Probably working on the second roll right now. That was a turbocharger in big fashion. It just exited the chat, I guess they say. Oh, we got a nice old G John Deere heading down to give him a tow. And adding to the purse for the hot farm tonight in memory of her late husband Mike. And boy, that was just a little over a year ago. I heard about less than a year ago, I guess. We lost Mike. And Brandy's here tonight, and she's going to throw a little extra money into her late husband's class, the hot farms. And thank you very much for that, Brandy. Now they're going to pull Dave Baker off the track the hard way behind a G John Deere with one exploded turbocharger under the old girl. Let's give him a big hand. That's all he's going to get tonight. Was that a new turbocharger or an old one? Old one? Okay, well, we won't worry about that. You're ready for a new one anyway. Yeah, he popped that baby pretty good. That's two turbochargers now we've launched out in this class, and we're only what are we at here? Not even 10 tractors deep in it. Boy. Gonna have Rod Hogan coming up next from right down the road in Broadhead, the Hustlin' Harvester. Now, Rod's the guy I was talking to earlier who was kind of just trying to decide what gear he was going to use. And he thought, boy, the track looks like it's going to be pretty tacky out there. Might want to run low gear. But then you see the guys running out to, 350 feet. Low gear won't get you to 350 feet. So these guys got 3 or 5 speed transmissions in these. And the percentages are really close together. But they're just enough that'll screw you up if you pick the wrong one. So I'm sure he's probably not going to run low gear. He probably shifted up 1, maybe 2, with the big distances we've seen laid out there already. To get that far, you got to get there in a hurry. You got to get the speed up on the Terminator sled. The line pretty hard so you don't snuff it out, and that was a pretty good example of that. And he gets it up there, 361.91, 361.91. That's the first puller we've seen into the 360s since our third puller of the class. So Rod Hogan's strategy worked quite well, got him into third place thus far. This is going to be Dominic Holgraffer from Bellevue, Iowa. Mama's Money reloaded. Ooh, and I like what I hear in the pit area. We got super modified 2-wheel drive trucks warming up. I like them. Here we go, Dominic Holgraffer from Bellevue, Iowa. I think he won our points last year, going just off my scat memory. And he's able to drive it off the track, so that makes him a winner right there. Seen a couple of them not able to do that thus far. And he takes it out 361.09. Boy, they're starting to get crowded. 361.09. I think that might be a 4th place run. And it's what it says up there on our scoreboard. Here comes the 466 Express. Cole Meyer from right here in Monroe. Hometown boy, third generation puller, the 466 Express. And this is Grandpa's old tractor, John Meyer Sr.'s. And he moves the sled over the left-hand side of the track. We'll see how this works. We haven't seen anybody over here thus far. So how about it? Let's get behind Cole Meyer, folks, hometown boy from right here in Monroe. Yeah, how about it, my 466 Express fans? Nice pull. I don't think the left-hand side of the track hurt him a bit. I think he got a pretty good hole shot out of there. And I would reckon the rest of the pullers are going to be kind of taking a look at that spot over there. .356.80, 356.80 for Cole Meyer. The 466 Express. That might be about a 5th place run, I'm guessing. By golly, it is 5th place. I want to thank some of our great sponsors here for the 2026 season on the Badger State Circuit. I want to thank the good folks at Budweiser out of Sun Prairie. Also Rank Seas, Sussex Machine Company out of Waterloo, Didion Milling from Cambria, Mosier and Associates Insurance Services from Monroe. Also Gallett's Grading out of Jefferson. Some more of our great season-long sponsors on the Badger State Tractor Puller Circuit. This here going to be Craig Whitaker from right here in Monroe. A lot of local pullers in this class. New Holland T7 210, calls it True Blue. This is about the 3rd or 4th tractor Craig Whitaker's built. And boy, he is a master craftsman when he builds a tractor. He builds them, runs them for a little while, and then sells them off. All right, Craig Whitaker from right here in Monroe. Beautiful, beautiful New Holland tractor. Well, he had plenty of oomph. Probably could have stepped her up one gear. Didn't seem like it was challenging the motor all that much. .344.26, 344.26 for Craig Whitaker on his beautiful New Holland machine. All right, here comes the Diamond Deer. We got Tracy doing the wheeling tonight. Tracy Paulson out of DeForest, a 4255 John Deere. And the tractor's been running pretty good. Here we go, Tracy doing the wheeling on the family's Diamond Deere. The tractor's been in the victory lane a couple of times so far, and Tracy, she's a good wheel. She does a good job. She got herself a pretty good bite on the track and picked the front end up there at about 150 feet. .345.15, 345.15 for Tracy. That's not going to be enough to crack the top 5. That looks like 8th place thus far. And we'll have another lady puller coming to the line. It's going to be Ashley McDonald. Comes out of Darlington with her tractor she calls Still Broke. And Ashley, she's Tony McDonald's daughter. Tony will be coming up later on with his well-spent machine in the 4-1 class. That'll be at the end of the night. All right, Ashley McDonald coming to the line here. Tractor she calls Still Broke. And Ashley, she was our Rookie of the Year last year on the Badger State Circuit. And I don't know if she's hit the 18th birthday mark yet or not. Just got the tractor out last year at the County Fair. Tell you what, the old Terminator, when it tops that box out and pushes them grocer bars in the track, it's going to let you know about it. .351.73, 351.73 for Ashley McDonald. And the super modified two-wheel drives are heading to the scale. And a little warm-up action going on in the pits for them guys as we move them right down the line here. We're down to 2 tractors yet to run here. We got Anthony Sen going to be coming up next from Fox Lake with a Swiss Miss. Then Steve Althouse is going to try to come back. He didn't have much luck getting it off the line to start the class off. Now, all you pullers, you can relate to this. They've been talking about all the smoke we've had coming down from Canada the last few days and how smoky it was out. I've listened to the guys on the news. Oh, the smoke, it's terrible. Now, you've never seen smoke until you've been in Broadbent Arena down at the farm show on Saturday night when they're warming up the Pro Stock tractors. That is smoke. Here we go, Anthony Sen from Fox Lake, the Swiss Miss. I was talking to Anthony when I got here today, and I didn't realize it, but he used to pull 20 years ago in the Super Farm class, and he took a 20-year hiatus. Usually if you stay away from something for 20 years, that'd be enough to cure you, but nope, he's back at it. And he says his hot farm that he's got now has twice the horsepower of his super farm 20 years ago. That's a lot of technology put in these pulling tractors over the years. Talking to Anthony before the pull, he said that one of the other biggest changes from when he's pulled 20 years ago to now, he's had his knees replaced, and his left knee, that's his clutch knee, it isn't as flexible as it used to be. Imagine that. And he has a hard time bending it far enough to ease off the clutch nice and easy. He can back it off a little bit, then he's got to pretty much sidestep it off the line, and it kind of impedes his nice smooth launch. 348.74. 348.74 for Anthony Sen. Yeah, that's being a dedicated puller, you know, when you get your knee replaced and then that impedes your pulling, but you still go do it anyway. Well, we're down to one tractor to go here. This is going to be Steve Althouse. He was our original test puller with his John Deere, and he couldn't get it off the line to speak of. I don't think he moved the sled a foot or two. And it looked like, on a second attempt, it looked like the water injection was just drowning the motor out immediately. He's had plenty of time to take a look at it, so they feel fairly confident as they drive it back out onto the track. Because trust me, if they didn't think they had it fixed up, they wouldn't bring it out here, because you look at the distances that are out there in the top 5, all of them are past 260 feet. There's too many expensive parts on these tractors to waste a run goofing around. Here we go, last tractor in the hot farm. 15 of them entered up here tonight. Symptoms seem very similar. Not sure what's going on there. I don't know if his turbocharger just giving up, but she was running pretty good. Then it's just like it started laying out. And Lee Ruff is going to be our winner with the fair warning machine. Steve Althouse is going to go 266.58, 266.58. And here's going to be our rundown. Here's Lee Ruff is going to win it with the fair warning. Ben Hayen, he comes in second, but I bet he'd rather finish fifth if he didn't blow his turbocharger in the process. Barad Hogan going to come home third. Dominic Holgraffer finishes in fourth. Cole Meyer with the 466 Express, good for fifth here tonight. Sean Struder with the Blue Viper finishes in sixth. Ashley McDonald still broke seventh. John Meyer Jr. driving the still fueling around of the Loughboroughs, 8th place. 9th place going to go to Anthony Sen right there with the Swiss Miss. Got her in the top 10, finished 9th here tonight. Tracy Paulson rolls home 10th with the Diamond Deer. Then we're going to take a look at 11th. That's going to be Mike Loughborough with Just Fueling Around. Craig Whitaker, True Blue, 12th. Steve Althouse, the last man down the track, 13th. Rich Suter, overfueled, finishes in 14th. And Dave Baker, he blew his turbocharger in spectacular fashion right on the line. Going to round out the class of 15 tractors here tonight. Limited light super stock tractors coming up next. They'll throw a couple weights in the sled. Or probably, I should say, pull a couple weights out of the sled. Light supers, they only weigh 6,500 pounds. Want to thank the good folks at Compeer Financial, some of our good sponsors here for 2026. On the Badger State Circuit, also Insight FS out of Jefferson. Wisconsin Custom Operators out of DeForest, and also K&M Sales and Service out of Hancock, Wisconsin. Big thanks to them folks giving us support, money, equipment, many different ways to support us on the 2026 campaign. Going to limited light super stocks. Here's Gene Warda from Winnebago. His John Deere. He's sashaying on through there. Just a smidgen. He's our test puller. We'll see what that looks like. I think he's out, well, now past 300 feet, so that's we always want to do that. Now, all you hot farm guys, listen up here. We got Brandy Meyer up here. She's got extra bonus money for the shootout that you guys ran. Brandy, tell us what you did on the shootout.
So for the shootout, I want to do a shootout in memory of Mike. So I did Darlington, or actually Baraboo, Darlington, and tonight here in Monroe. And for the top 3 guys, I'm going to give them back a little bit. And Ben Hand got first. My buddy Hot Rod Hogan got second. And Lee Roof got third. And if they want to meet me back by the Meyer Farm trailer, I'll give them some money. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much, Brandy, and doing that in memory of Mike, we really appreciate it. We all miss Mike, too. I'm glad you're here tonight doing what you're doing for the guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandy. And Ben Hayen, he could use the money. He just ate a turbocharger tonight.
Well, he's not getting that much money. Sorry.
Ben, you're gonna have to make up the difference.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brandy. It's great to see you here tonight. All right, we got the sled set. He turns the hook down, Gene Werda does. I'm not surprised. I don't know what, the tractor seemed like it was wallering from side to side as he's going down through there. I don't know what he can correct on it. Maybe put an extra half a pound of air in the tires or something. But they like the sled because he went 301, even though he was kind of wallering around. Oh, and we got a bunch of track inspectors out there now. Well, Pat Hack, our head track builder, he's keeping an eye on things. We got one of the timbermans out there poking the dirt with his little walking stick. What he's doing, he's looking for a spot on the track that's not too hard and not too soft. Kind of like the Three Bears, just right. This is going to be Keith Durst out of Richland Center. Alice Chalmers 200, he calls it a little mule. He brought this tractor out last year, and it was just way too heavy. He made weight, but he had no weight on the front end of the thing. And his very first trip down the track was very much a wheel-standing effort. And his wife said, "You get some weight on the front of that tractor before you pull it again. I am not going to watch that." And he put the tractor on a huge diet after that. And he's got a bunch of weight on the front of her now. Hell, Keith getting some last-minute driving instructions down there. I always like it when somebody gets up there and tells them one last thing to do. Coming in from Richland Center, and Alice Chalmers 200. There too, like Gene Werda did. And I should have mentioned that is an alcohol burner. And the way we do it in this light super stock class, the diesels get to weigh 6,500 pounds, and the alcohol burners weigh 6,250. Just a 250-pound difference between the two fuels, and that's the way we did it right from the very beginning, and we never changed it. That was a pretty good guess on all the pullers' part of what would be a fair handy, I don't want to call it a handicap, but an even or upper. How's that? Is that a word, an even upper? But that's it. But it's worked out really well. And it just depends on the track and the day. Keith Durst with the Little Mule 300.21, 300.21. Puts him in the lead. Gene Werda turned his pole down. Going to have Steve Zenz out of Potosi, 1855 Oliver coming to the line. Here's another alcohol burner. And the Zenz boys, they bring 2 tractors to the class every event, and they are super competitive. He puts the sled right in the middle of the track. All right, Steve Zenz out of Potosi. Clean green Oliver 1855 alcohol burner. Keith Nurse leading with the Alice Chalmers Little Mule. Gene Werda turned down 301. And that thing's got a 5.9 Cummins in it, folks. You can repower it. Got a 5.9 Cummins converted over to alcohol. Oh yeah, he moves it up there, 316.17. And he drives it off the track. That's always the best part. He stands up and looks at his holes that he drives off there. 316.17. That'll be the mark to beat. Ed Casper from Poplar Grove will be coming up next. I think this is going to be Ed's first time out this year, if I'm thinking right. Got himself a John Deere, painted black. I want to thank the good folks at Dynamic Agronomics. They're in Monroe. Dynamic Agronomics, your local channel seed dealer. They offer seed, crop protection, fertilizer, drone application, and agronomy services to help farmers get the most from every acre. The right product on every acre, that's what they like to do at Dynamic Agronomics. All right, Ed Casper's first time out this year. Let's see what he's got for us. One thing about it is everything should be fresher than the rest of the guys because it's be the first run on it. up the clutch for a good long ways too. Kind of got them big 24.5 tires hooked up. I think that's going to put him solidly into second place. 304.09, that is exactly what it'll do, 304.09, second place. Steve Zenz with the Oliver, 316. We'll have Dave Runkle out of Kent with Earl's Dream coming up next. And if you want to have a chance to make some easy money, the Badger State Tractor Pullers, they have a raffle every year, and it's the proceeds, half the proceeds go to the American Family Children's Hospital, and the other half of the proceeds will go to you. And what it is we print 1,000 tickets, and the tickets are $100 each. But first prize is $25,000, second's $15,000, and third prize is $10,000. And we only print 1,000 of these tickets. They're $100 each, and you can buy them here today. I seen Jack Spots running around here earlier, and he's the man that runs that raffle so superbly for the Badger State Tractor Pullers. So we've got them on the grounds. If you want to get in on a chance to make some, well, I guess it's easy money if you win, first, second, or third. You know, third place, I'd take that, $10,000. But you get one of these raffle tickets, and we draw them on December 5th at the Wilderness Lodge up there during the annual banquet for the Badger State Tractor Pullers. Again, they're $100 each, and we got 1,000 of them that we print. That's it. And we can come on up here and tell me you want one. We'll get Jack Spots up here, and he'll get you hooked up and see if we can get you some money. This here going to be Dave Runkle with Earl's Dream coming up out of Kent, Illinois. Be a diesel burning 686 International. I smell ether. Imagine that, smelling ether at a tractor pull. For a turbocharged diesel tractor. Unless got a lot of condensation in the intercooler, that would be about the only thing that would cause that. Again, remind you all, coming up on September 12th, the 20th annual Green County Fall Nationals going to be taking place right here at the Green County Fairgrounds. We got 9 classes. We're going to start pulling at noon. The band starts about 7:30, and it's brought to you by Washington Implement up in Monticello. And we got our pre-sales tickets, and that's really the way to go, because the pre-sale tickets, they get you in on the drawing for a bunch of fabulous prizes. Grand prize, $1,000 cash from the Browntown Foundry, Grande Cheese, and Woodford State Bank, and Hardiman Roofing. All them folks kicked in some money to make a $1,000 grand prize. And these prizes are only for the people who brought advance tickets. And if you're going to come to the pull anyway, the advance tickets cost you no more than if you bought it at the gate. But it gets you in for the drawing of all these fabulous prizes. Also, Thrivent Financial and Dynamic Ergonomics on that. And a $750 gift card from Monroe Furniture Center. $500 gift card from Pomp's Tire Service in Monroe. All eligible for the pre-pull ticket sales. And now coming to the line, speaking of the Hawthorns, here comes Larry, the legend Hawthorne. Been pulling for 65 continuous years. 65 continuous years. He's hooked a tractor to a weight transfer machine. And believe me, when he started, we didn't have automatic weight transfer machines. We had step-on sleds. The little green giant Deutsch. Larry Hawthorne. It's going to be the third time out for him this year. They've had a couple of issues the first couple of pulls. They're hoping they got her all figured out this time. Talking to Mark ahead of time a little bit, he goes, it's always something. I suppose it always is. But Larry Hawthorne getting ready to go. 65 years of continuous pulling, and he's 80 years old. So that tells you, my Platteville High School math tells me he started when he was 15 years old and never stopped. That's pretty good. People are usually broken out of money before they've been at it for 65 years. All right, let's get behind Larry the Legend Hawthorne here. Pulling at his home county fair. It went from point A to point B, and it looks like he come out of it unscathed. They've had just a few different issues on the tractor this year. They ran it. This is the third time down the track this year, and the first two times. And the issues are stuff that. Talking to Mark before the pull, it's always something and something different once in a while. But he comes out of it 301.36, a very nice pull. 301.36 for Larry Hawthorne. I think that'll put him in third place. Aaron Kleckler out of Winslow be our next puller. Here comes Aaron Kleckler from Winslow, Illinois, the double vision. Thus far, Steve Zen's your leader with the 1855 alcohol burning Oliver. Super modified two-wheel drives. You see him staging up down there. They will be the next class. And Hawthorne's, they wanted to let me know, you guys, they're sponsored by Faith Engineering, the Bank of New Glarus, and Schultz Automotive Machine. Sponsors of the Hawthorns and the Little Green Giant. I know Faith Engineering, boy, they do a lot of work out at the Thresherman's Park up there between Edgerton and Janesville for the Threshery. That's always Labor Day weekend every year. Goes for 4 days, where they start on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's quite a tremendous display of how things were done 100 years ago. But Faith Engineering, they got a tremendous display of old stuff, how that was done in the machining world back then. They also want to thank the Bank of New Glarus and Schultz Automotive Machine, good sponsors of the Hawthorne pulling team and the Little Green Giant Deutsch. Yeah, speaking of the Thresherman's Park, I think we're going to be up there next Saturday for a Badger State tractor pulling event. They've put a full-time pulling track in up there, and that event's really been taken off here since its inception about 5 years ago. Boy, just standing up here on the announcer stand, looking down the other end of the track, these pullers are heading right into some setting sun down there. That'd be tough. Hell, Aaron comes to a stop. Boy, he dumps a bunch of water out of the bottom of it. Hopefully that's just intercooler splashing out. Yeah, tractor's still running, so that's always a good sign. 293.43 for Aaron Kleckler. 293.43. Josh Wackholz from Oshkosh be coming up next. His 766 he calls just for fun. We'll be heading up to his way in 2 weeks, I think. I don't have my calendar in front of me. But the Winnebago County Fair up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Be heading up there in 2 weeks on a Friday night. All right, Josh Wackholz with his 766 International calls it just for fun. And like I say, we'll be heading up his way in 2 weeks on a Friday night for the Winnebago County Fair up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's a pretty nice fair up there, too, a pretty big fair. Been going up there calling the show for him the last several years. Another nice pull. Gosh, I don't know if they're going to get around that Oliver of the Steve Zenz. Josh Wackholz goes 305.42, and I'm sure Ryan already had it up on the board. That looks like second place to me. 305.42, a nice run for Josh Wackholz. And it looks like we got 3 tractors to run. Dave Zenz be coming up on the other alcohol-powered machine, the Z-Ride, which is a white sheet metal tractor. Comes out of Potosi. His brother's leading this thing at 316.17. Again, coming up on September 12th, the 20th annual Green County Fall Nationals. And I was talking to you a little bit earlier about the pre-event ticket sales. And that's the way to go if you plan on coming at all. It's going to cost you $20 whether you buy your tickets at the gate or if you buy them in advance. And if you get them in advance, that's where the real fun comes in, because it puts you in the drawing for some fabulous prizes. And I think I stopped at $500 gift card courtesy of Pomp's Tire Service. Also got another $500 gift card from Monroe Radio Shack AT&T Repair. There we go, Dave Zentz, the Z-Ride out of Potosi. Here's another 5.9 Cummins converted over to alcohol. I don't know. 303.43 for Dave Zentz, 303.43. But the thing that I find interesting, I'm looking behind the announcer stand in the pit area, and the still fueling around tractor's getting pushed back to the trailer with the back end up in the air by a skid steer. I wonder if them guys tore something up in the rear end of that thing, I'd be my guess. That's generally not how you move these things around. And they're heading to the trailer. This ought to be fun. The still fueling around tractor of the Loofboroughs. They got a skid steer. They got the back of the tractor picked up with a skid steer, and they're heading to the trailer with it. And I would guess they got something busted up in the rear end that they're unable to tow it. This here's going to be the interesting part, because now they're going to try to shove it up in the trailer. Yeah, for your viewing pleasure in between hooks, look over your shoulder here on the infield, you know. I don't know. They I guess they could have more than one shot at it. I wouldn't want to take too many cracks at it. If it was me, I'd shove it through the wall of the trailer. Now they're doing good so far. Now they got to get the skid steer up there. It's going to be Carl Mickelson from Stoughton, Ford 6000 Commander. He calls it the hard target. And we're all enjoying watching them put that tractor in the trailer with the skid steer. So far, so good. Carl Mickelson from Stoughton, the hard target. Ford 6000, he calls it the Commander. And it's a alcohol burner. Hey, they're doing good so far. They got the tractor just about in, and the skid steer's up on the ramps. Oh, we got to make sure they don't lift it so high that the roll cage doesn't hit the top of the trailer. Yeah, it's always something. All right, back on the track over here, Carl Mickelson. Well, seemed like he had plenty of motor, just never got her hooked up. They're doing a pretty good job back here in the pit side, shoehorning that still fueling around tractor into the trailer with the skid steer. They about got her done. Yeah, they're giving me a thumbs up. All right, that means they got it. Yeah, Carl Mickelson just seemed like he never quite got a hold of the track. Probably wish you had a weight off the front. 276.38, 276.38. Gene Werda, our original test puller, coming back now. He will be the last man to go into class. Now, Gene turned down 301.78. That wouldn't have been the winner. It probably, I don't know if it even cracked the top 5, so not going to be out much by turning that down. All right, Gene comes back for his official hook here. He was our test puller. He started the class going 301, and he turned it down. He was kind of wallering his way down through there, side to side a little bit. I don't know what he could have done, what he's done different. Maybe half a pound in each tire to try to keep it from wallering back and forth. All right, last tractor to go here in the limited light super stock class. Gene Werda from Winnebago. Needs to go to the other side of 316, I believe, if he wants to get that other shade of green out of there. That's a good run. I think he increased his lot from the first go around. You always want to do that. You know, if you want to go a little better than you did the first one. He turned down 301.77. He comes back and goes 301.56. That's what I call consistency anyway. Here's how we're going to finish up. Let's see. Steve Zenz with the Oliver, 1855 is your winner. Josh Wackholz finishes second with a 766 just for fun. Nice pull, Josh. That's got to feel pretty good. Ed Casper, first time out this year. He puts it into third place. Fourth place goes to Dave Zenz on the Zine ride. Gene Werda, our last man down the track, rolls home in fifth. And the legendary Larry Hawthorne brings the little green giant Deutsch home sixth here tonight. Seventh place goes to Keith Durst in a little mule. Earl's Dream with David Runkle, eighth place. Aaron Kleckler with the double vision, ninth place. And Carl Mickelson with the hard target Ford 6000 Commander is going to wrap out the class in 10th place here tonight. Nice class of limited light super stocks here. Now let's see, let's get back to talking about the Green County Fall Nationals, the 20th annual coming up September 12th, right here at the fairgrounds. And what do we got? 11 $200 cash prizes. These are all for the pre-event ticket sales. 200. We got 11 of them. $200 cash prizes. Jordan Ag Supply, Track Trucking, Matt Baker Properties, Track Lumber and Timber, Bear Ag Solutions, Tugs, Jeff Dutzenberger, and many more prizes worth more than $1.25 each. Kids under 12 are free that day. Not too many things you can do with your kid that's 12 and under for free. The prizes are going to be drawn rain or shine. That's all coming up here September 12th, the 20th annual Green County Fall Nationals. Again, if you plan on coming to the event, the pre-ticket sales is the way to go. And again, the whole event brought to you by Washington Implement, Monticello.
It's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rolling on down to San Antone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch.
All right, that didn't take long. Here we go. Super modified two-wheel drives. You got any little kids with you here tonight? Get their fingers out of their nose and put them in their ears. It's gonna get loud. All these pullers are featuring some type of supercharged Hemi making the power. We got the hot nasty of the Timmermans coming up first. Who's wheeling her tonight? Kurt Timmerman doing the driving tonight, coming out of Dickeyville, the hot nasty. I believe they're three-time point champions on the Badger State Circuit. 565 cubic inches of all aluminum. Brad Anderson, Hemi gonna do the talking. He walked that thing off the line a long ways. I always look at the butterflies on the injector on top of the motor that's coming out through the hood. That baby sounds pretty crispy, I know that. All right, he's going to keep the pole. 302 302.46. He's keeping the pull. The sled is set. We're good to go. He walked that a long ways off the line before he went to full chat on it. Who are we looking at next here? Let me take a look at my lineup sheet. Going to be Scott Naring from Reedsburg. He's going to be doing the driving for the Deppies in the old school 1957 Chevrolet. Scott will be coming back later in the class with his own truck. Right now he's doing a little substitute driving for the Deppies. Now, when you watch him come down the track, if you look coming up through the hood, the injector hat, there's two butterflies on there, and them are hooked right to the throttle handle, and that'll kind of tell you how much he's walking it off the line before he goes to full throttle. Because when he goes to full throttle, them two silver, I guess they're kind of somewhat rectangular, oval shaped, coming up through the hood there, they'll turn to black as he opens her up. Now, Kurt Timmerman, he was pretty mild on it. He kind of walked it a long ways before them butterflies were flat wide open. Let's see what Scott Naring does. Watch the butterflies coming up through the hood on the fuel injector. He got after it a lot faster than Kurt Timmerman did. As a matter of fact, the butterflies went wide open before the motor came up. It was a little bit way behind him. But boy, it's going to do the job. 313.97. That's going to be your new leader. 313.97. Boy, he just put 11 feet on the defending champion in the class. Nice pull for Scott Naring. That's not even his truck. I guess if it's not your truck, you can drive it a little harder. Yeah, you watch it. He went to full throttle right away, but it's almost like the motor was a half a second behind the throttle plates. Well, down here on the infield side, looks like food sales and liquid beverage sales are going fast and furious. I see one guy down there got a Sweet Minnehaha Campground t-shirt on. I've gone canoeing out of Sweet Minnehaha Campground before. It's a nice little canoe ride. Here we go. It's going to be Mike Finucane coming down from Camp Douglas. Dollars and no cents, he calls her. I think this is a classic old Dodge body he's got on his. And again, now you look at the fuel injector hat on his, and this is an Endurley type. We call them the big and ugly, but it got the three red circles That's the fuel injector on the motor of his machine. Again, another 557 cubic inch all aluminum Chrysler Hemi. Going to be doing the talking for him. But you watch them three red circles coming up out of the hood there on top of the motor in front of the windshield. And when they go black, that's when he's wide open, and you kind of see how fast he goes full throttle. Kurt Timmerman walked it out a long ways, and then now Scott Naring, he come out and got after it pretty hard, pretty quick, and just put 11 feet on him. So it looks to me like you don't want to wait too long. Now you hear the lope of the big aluminum Chrysler Hemi. We just got a real good showing of his driving on that truck. He came out, went to full throttle, and he kind of just blew the tires away. And then you see the butterflies, and he kind of went back half throttle. He's trying to hook it up at that point. Then he went full throttle again, and it still didn't hook up. And at that point, he realized this is not going to go anywhere fast, so he went ahead and pulled the stick back and lived to pull another day, and we're going to get a tow tractor for him. We need a tow tractor down here. Oh, we got another fine 2-cylinder John Deere. Take a look at this one, a 730 diesel with duals. Now, I know you farm-all guys would say a 2-cylinder John Deere wouldn't make enough power to have duals. Now, that's just you red guys thinking that. I don't know if I've ever seen a 2-cylinder with duals, though. Well, Mike Finucane, he's got his helmet off. I seen that. He's going to lift the body up so you can see as he heads off the track. He can probably hear us. Let's give him a big hand, having a little tough luck out here tonight. Yeah, he just wasn't getting hooked up at all, so he finally just bailed out on it. There'll always be another day. But not if you scatter your motor on the track. That doesn't help. 211.76, 211.76 for Mike Finucane. Travis Hosley from New Glarus coming to the line with Give Her the Beans. And this thing here's, a horse of a different color. Here's a horse of a different breed. Twin turbocharged, 575 cubic inch big block Chevrolet. So it won't be near as loud. The turbochargers muffle the noise, that's for sure. And this here's the brainchild of Tom and Brenda Foley of T&B's Performance and Machine right here in Monroe. Tom and Brenda, they're addicted to horsepower, as they say. And they're good at it. But yeah, this thing here, you can see the big turbochargers above the fenders on each side. Force feeding a big 575 cubic inch big block Chevrolet. And he's been getting a little better at it every pull. He's kind of always working on the tune-up, getting the fuel a little closer. Motor's been running pretty good the last couple times now. Travis Hosley with the Give Her the Beans machine. He didn't get hooked up until, he was almost 225 feet before it hooked up. By then, the Terminator already done the damage on him. She's making good power, just got to work on the rest of the setup. Now 269.14, 269.14 for Travis Hosley. Yeah, the twin turbos are starting to really make some power, but he much like Mike Finucane, just couldn't get it hooked up the first 100 feet or so, maybe even 125 feet. A lot of engine RPMs, and them guys can feel it in the seat. That's why Mike Finucane was playing with the throttle, because he could feel he wasn't getting hooked up and getting any traction. Want to thank some of our good sponsors on the Badger State circuit again for 2026. Double J Power Sports, Josh Jacobs. That's actually our sled here tonight. Double J Power Sports and Josh Jacobs. Also the Sauk County Fairboard, Baraboo Bluff ATV. This here going to be Ethan Frederick, also from the sprawling metropolis of New Glarus. Got his Chevrolet he calls Foul Play. And this here's a more conventional supercharged machine. Got a big 1471 supercharger. Force feeding the air and the fuel into the big 565 cubic inch all aluminum Chrysler Hemi. Ethan Frederick from New Glarus, Foul Play Chevrolet. I just cringe when they go full throttle like that and they just spin and the tire's not really getting hooked up. He stuck with it for a long time though. Hopefully it didn't hurt anything. 266.45, 266.45 for Ethan Frederick's Foul Play. All right, get stand up, get loud, get proud. T-shirts are coming your way. The Hoganics crew's doing that. Hoganics are doing that. And we got the fairest of the fair there too. Boy, if you catch a T-shirt thrown by her, maybe she'd autograph it for you and get a picture taken. Wouldn't that be special? Get your picture taken with the fairest of the fair. Yeah, put them up. Are they just throwing them, or they got a launcher too? They got a launcher? No launcher. They're just doing it the old Armstrong way.
All Armstrong.
All right. So get up, get loud, get proud. T-shirts coming your way. And if you catch one from the fairest of the fair, she'll autograph it for you, and she'll give you a kiss on the cheek, and you get your picture taken. This here's going to be Wayne Timmerman out of Cuba City. And he puts the sled all the way over on the right-hand side of the track. He's seen that nothing was working for the previous 3 trucks in front of him. He's like, I got to try something different. That is not working for them other boys. And he knows them guys are all good pullers. So he just takes and moves the sled all the way over to the right-hand side of the track. Kind of like, got to try something different. He's a good puller. He pulls a lot of different places throughout the summer. Wayne Timmerman out of Cuba City. And he's got an MBR style Hemi. Yeah, Wayne Timmerman, he tried something different, moving it all the way over to the right-hand side, and I can't say that worked out any better than the rest of the stuff. That's just unbelievable. We had first 2 pullers go past 300, and nobody's come within shouting distance since then. And I feel bad for the pullers. I mean, they're stretching the connecting rods in their engines as they keep the hammer pinned down on them. Right now, your leader, Scott Naring, with the old school Chevrolet of the Deppies. He's out there at 313.9. Kurt Timmerman sits in second with the Hot Nasty at 302, and nobody else is within, well, let's see, nobody's in the 290s, nobody's in the 280s, nobody's in the 270s, and we got 3 of them in the 260s. That's unbelievable. He'll drop off 40 feet like that. And I'm sure all the pullers are just kind of like, I don't know, it's just one of them days. And this is one of them days when you know what you're up against, that you got to be a little justice with the throttle and realize that, you know, if it's not there, just go ahead and save your machine for another day. No sense in throwing the connecting rods on the track, trying to win 4th place here tonight. At least that's how I look at it as a puller. Sometimes it's just not there. So Scott Naring will be the last puller. I see 10,000-pound pro stocks all staged up, and our 4.1 limited pros are lining up already. We're 3 classes through this show already tonight, moving right along. Well, Scott Naring, he's going to move it all the way over to the other side of the track. He's seen how that worked for Wayne Timmerman on the right-hand side, and he goes, yeah, not so much. We'll try the other side. So he's already leading the class. Scott Naring is driving Tim Deppy's old school Chevrolet. But now, since he's made his pull, nobody's gone past 270 feet, which is just makes you scratch your head. What happened? I know the sun went down. Maybe the sun going down brought up enough moisture that it just slicked the track over enough where these guys just don't have anything to get a hold of. I would kind of bet that's what has transpired on us. I just been informed Scott Naring now owns Tim Deppy's old school Chevrolet. Well, that's a good investment. There you go. Try the left-hand side. Side of the track, and he learned enough off his first truck that he now owns the old school Chevrolet to make another run, and he comes up and goes 306.03, 306.03, and he's going to take first and second place here tonight. How about that? He wins it with the old school Chevrolet. Finishes second with his truck that just went down the track when I didn't think the track had anything left in it. He shows me wrong. Goes 306.03. Puts it in the second. Kurt Timmerman saves third place out of this thing. Travis Holmes and Give the Beans, fourth place. Ethan Frederick with foul play finishes in fifth. Wayne Timmerman finishes it uncharacteristically sixth place in Showtime. And Mike Finucane dollars no sense going to finish in seventh. He saves his machine for a rainy day. That's unreal. I didn't think that track had anything left in there. And then Scott Marion comes up and goes 303 right at the end of the class. Shows you what I know. Now we're going to load the boat. 10,000-pound Pro Stock tractors coming up next. Oh boy. And let's see, we've got ourselves 7 entries here tonight. 7 entries, 10,000-pound Pro Stocks. They're going to go like this. Foolish Pleasure, Ben Brinkmeyer driving, going to be first one up, followed by Greg Elsing with the Tomcat, Josh Blackburn with the American Regulator John Deere, Craig Ladwig with the Fent, Never Giving Up. Then we'll have Dustin Hook with his John Deere playing hooky, Jason Mollinger wheeling the red Cadillac, and then Bob Manning with Over Budget. We'll complete our class of 7 tough Pro Stock tractors here tonight. 10,000-pound Pro Stock tractors, I might add.
There's rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But those people keep a moving, and that's what tortures me. that railroad train was mine, I bet I'd move it on a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I want to stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle roll my blues away. Where it began, I can't begin to know.
Here we go. The 10,000-pound Pro Stocks coming to the line. The world-famous Foolish Pleasure going to be our first tractor. We got Ben Brinkmeyer doing the driving tonight. One of my favorite classes, the 10,000-pound Pro Stocks. These things are nasty, they're powerful, they're heavy. 10,000 pounds. They're the heaviest class of pulling tractors we got. That should prove to be serving well here tonight. At least the sun's down. They don't have to drive into the sun now. That had to be a little bit tough on them classes earlier. But there's no Canadian wildfire smoke coming around. We're just going to have diesel smoke going here in a minute. And I don't know how true it is. Somebody said Trump was going to put a tariff on that Canadian wildfire smoke. I don't know. Can he do that? He probably can. Here we go. First puller in the class, Ben Brinkmeyer, Foolish Pleasure. Yeah, the old Foolish Pleasure, he's really aerating the soil out there. Oh my goodness. And what I like to look at is the footprint on the track, and you can see about 180 feet, the track's starting to get groused up pretty good. That's where they started to set the pan down and let them grouser bars start digging in, slow them boys up. And I'm looking at the weight transfer machine. He's got two big blocks on the pan, Josh Jacobs does, on the Terminator. He's got this thing loaded up pretty good for these Pro Stocks. Oh boy, 319.58. That's our start, 319.58. And look at the replay, that's a good run. Can't think of a guy do anything better or different. All right, Greg Elsing, the president of the Badger State Tractor Pullers. I think he's on his 30th one-year term as president of the Badger State Tractor Pullers. The New Holland T8 Tomcat. He drives her out onto the track. Ben Brinkmeyer is leading the class here. He laid it down at 3:19 to get us going. That's going to be a statement to be reckoned with. All right, Greg Elsing with the T8 Tomcat, the only New Holland in the country in the Pro Stock class. Oh, I guess Emily's wearing her lucky hat tonight. Emily's got her lucky hat on. Where's Emily's lucky hat? Oh, there's Emily's lucky hat. Oh, look at you on the big screen. Turn around, Emily, and smile and wave to everybody. Pretty good tonight. My Tim Brinkmeyer went down walking by here, and I asked him if that was a pretty good run that Ben laid down. He goes, I don't know. I'll tell you after Greg goes. And Ben Brinkmeyer's run was good, but not good enough. Greg Elsing goes 324.41. That's going to be your new leader. Oh boy. He has been running pretty stout as of late. He just won a $10,000 bonus from a Triple Crown sweep ran last week between Jefferson, what was it? Jefferson, Baraboo, and Darlington. Yeah, 3 poles in 4 days, and they took your top average finishes. And the guy who did the best of all that was Greg Elsing, put an extra $10,000 in his pocket. So he has been running pretty stout as of late. Very much so. That's when you start getting nervous, because when the tractors are running real good like that, it's just kind of like, oh, how much longer will it go? Well, our next puller is going to be Josh Blackburn. And this here tractor's got an interesting story. It's owned by a fella out in California. Boy, I don't know why I can't remember the guy's name. But they got the guy he's owned by a fella out in California. They've got this Pro Stock that they just added to their stable this year. They also got a Super Farm that the Blackburns built for them about 4 or 5 years ago. And then they also added a Pro Stock diesel truck to the stable. And all the vehicles sit in Cuba City at the Blackburns Performance Shop. And the Blackburns take care of them and run them for them. And they'll fly back and forth from California on occasion and run them. And this here's a new one for him this year. And up at Baraboo, I seen what was going on. I talked to Josh, and I says, what gives here? And he tells me the story on it. And he said, I've never driven a Pro Stock tractor before. He's driven about everything else. He said, this is kind of cool. Now, somebody will tell me the name of the guy from out in California that owns all this stuff. but they call the tractor American Regulator. I think he's got the guy that owns the tractor, he's got a business out in California. I think it's called American Crane. The big business is setting high lines, towers for high lines. I guess somebody's got to do it. I believe this tractor comes via the Jason Round stable, for you guys that are in the know. Pretty decent run for Josh Blackburn, but he's not going to catch them other two wily veterans. 296.29, 296.29 for Josh Blackburn. And this is Josh Blackburn's maiden voyage here, or maiden season in pro stock. I don't think he's probably been down the track 10 times yet. One thing he's finding out, these guys have been doing this for years and years in this class. They are tough competitors. That gives you a pretty good benchmark to measure yourself against, that's for sure. Craig Ladwig with the Fent, Never Giving Up, will be our next puller. I want to thank our good folks at Kwame Insurance. Kwame Insurance thanks all of you for attending tonight's tractor pull and hope that you're enjoying and cheering on your favorite puller with family and friends. When looking for a family-first, local independent insurance agency, your farm, business, power sports, home, auto insurance needs, contact Eric Quam at Quam Insurance in Columbus, Wisconsin. And of course, you can visit them on the web, quaminsurance.com. Q stands for quality. Kwame Insurance, great supporters of the Badger State Tractor Pullers. As is our good folks at Rink Seeds. Your success is our strategy. We strive to deliver you the latest technology and highest performing genetics. We also provide you with the data you need to make the right decisions for your farm. We've been around since 1846, and we wouldn't be where we are today without our strong relationships. At the end of the day, nothing matters more to us than you, our farmers. Rink Seeds, your seed company. Here we go, Craig Ladwig from Cascade with the Fent. This tractor broke the internet when he rolled it out of the trailer down at the National Farm Machinery Show a couple of years ago. Beautiful machine. His good buddy and crew chief, Glenn Valenstein, drove this tractor to victory on Saturday night up in Seymour, Wisconsin at the Mackville Nationals to kick off the season. Oh, he's giving a good run. He's going to be right in the thick of it. Man, he was really turning some RPMs. A lot of wheel speed. Well, he had to beat 324. Going to come up a little short. 316.07. 316.07 for Craig Ladwig. And that puts him in third place, if you can believe that. A tremendous pull like that puts you in third. 8 feet out of the lead. Dustin Hook up next, playing hooky John Deere. All right, here comes Dustin Hook with playing hooky, and there's a little snippet on the old Facebook there. A blogger, I don't know what you call these guys that do these little podcasts on Facebook. Ryan Kelly, he lives up around Ellsworth area, but he loves silos and harvesters. He's a farmer up that way. He paid a visit down to Dustin Hook's farm down there. And Dustin's got 2 great big harvester silos. The big blue ones, and he's converted them over to dry grain, and they put corn in them. And they're talking about that a little bit, and actually talked about them quite a bit, because Ryan Kelly, he's got an infatuation with silos and tractor pulling. It's a pretty interesting little bleep. If you can look it up on the old interweb, you watch it, it's pretty good. Ryan Kelly, he's got... type that in, I'm sure you'll find what I'm talking about. But that was a good little shot. And Dustin's got the old sheet metal from the T-Bone tractor sitting on a shelf in his shop. Now Dustin Hook with playing hooky. Al Dustin with the playing hooky John Deere. Boy, it's getting crowded at the top. 308.52. 308.52. Looks like 4th position. 2 tractors to go. Jason Molliner on a red Cadillac will be our next competitor coming to the line. Again, we want to thank some of our good help that we've had out here. Dynamic Agronomics. And also Holgronics. They're doing the meal in the pits for us tonight. A big thanks to Holgronics for that. And also Dynamic Agronomics, I guess they're sponsoring the grandstand. And we had United Co-op give us help with our water tank out here that we used to build the track. Also Helm Equipment, M&D Truck Equipment, Martin Ronak, Mavis Brothers, Austin Scogan, Joe Tom, Mark Wagner, Jonah Enke, and Sloan's. They've all given us a bunch of equipment that it takes to put on a tractor pull like we're doing here tonight at the Green County Fair. And it appears the infield's getting kind of full down here by the beer garden. I guess it is Friday night. Friday night at the county fair. Have at her. I kind of figured the heat would keep a few people away, but not too many. It looks like we got a good crowd here tonight. Thank you all for coming out, especially if you got here when the sun was still out and we were baking. Ain't too bad now. The sun gone down, a little breeze going on. I wouldn't stand downwind of me though. Here we go. Jason Molitor from Kent, the red Cadillac. Now Jason moves the sled over to the right-hand side of the track. Let's see what he's got. Young lady up here handing me some deodorant. I could take a hit. It's not Saturday night yet, though, so. That's bath night, Saturday night. All right, the red Cadillac, Jason Molitor. These guys are stacking them high and tight. How'd we do? 309.58. 309.58 for Jason Molitor. That's a pretty good pull. Man, we got them all stacked in here pretty tight. Let's see, who's our leader? Greg Elsing with the Tomcat holds down the lead at 324. Second place is Foolish Pleasure at 319. Craig Ladwig with Never Given Up is at 316. That's good for third. And I believe the red Cadillac just moved into fourth. Of course, all we have to do is look at the scoreboard, and Ryan Zolik will have that all figured out for me. He does. Hell, there's only one tractor between Greg Elsing and another victory on the season here in Pro Stock for the Badger State Tractor Pullers. This here's going to be the over-budget machine driven tonight by Jason Round. I think this is one of Jason's old tractors too, as a matter of fact. Yeah, let's see. Greg Elsing, he's on probably one of his best streaks of his pulling career here the last couple of weeks. Where's he standing at anyway? Anybody see where he's standing? With one more tractor to run. He's sitting in the lead. He's been sitting there after the second hook of the class, so he's had a chance to watch a few of them take a run at him. Some very good ones too. Here we go, last tractor here in the 10,000 pound pro stock class. Going to be the over budget machine, owned by Bob Manning tonight, driven by Jason Round. But I think Jason Round owned this tractor before Bob Manning picked it up from him. Well, last tractor to go, your leader is Greg Elsing. He moves the sled over to the left-hand side of the track, not all the way over, but left to center anyway. Just picked Greg Elsing's pocket. It's going to be close. Very, very good pass. Greg Elsing's been holding the lead with the Tomcat since the second hook of the class. He was out there at 3:24.41. Jason Round just went 3:23.44. Good for second place here tonight. Hell, here's how we're going to finish them up tonight. Boy, what a class. Jason Round put a run on it. 3:23.44. Greg Elsing is going to be your winner tonight. The T8 Tomcat, 3:24.41. Second place goes to Jason Round, driving the over budget on the last hook of the class. Ben Berkmeyer on Fielding's Pleasure, he goes third. Craig Ladwig fourth here tonight. Jason Molitor with the red Cadillac finishes in fifth. Dustin Hook with Playing Hooky sixth. All them tractors past 300 feet, well past 300 feet, I might add. And then Josh Blackburn with the American Regulator John Deere finishes in seventh here tonight. Greg Elsing, congratulations. And let's give all them pro stock pullers a big hand. That was a heck of a class. That was pretty good stuff. I guess Emily's lucky hat pays off. Well, we got one class yet to go here. That's going to be our 4.1 9,500 pound limited pro stock tractors. We got 11 of them entered up. I look down through the lineup, mostly all usual suspects by my standards, except we got one feller from down in Marine, Illinois, Russ Becker, with an Oliver 2255 he calls Sparky. So he's a traveler coming in to play with us here tonight, and glad to have him, but most all the other guys are usual suspects on the Badger State circuit.
Spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? And
go, bringing the sled back out. And I was getting into Sweet Caroline, too.
Younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place.
Here we go, last class of the night. 9,500-pound limited pro stocks. Adam Stevens going to be our first puller coming to the line out of Shannon, Illinois. The slow ride machine. Beautiful Case IH. These guys very similar to the 10,000-pound pro stock tractors that just ran, except these have to be cast iron construction. They have to have an ag chassis underneath them, mainly the transmission and rear end housings, but then all the internals of them have been all replaced with aftermarket stuff anyway. And the engines are a little smaller, where the pro stocks are at 680. These guys are 640. And the turbocharger is another big thing. These guys run a 4.1 inlet on the turbocharger, which is still a mighty big wheel, don't get me wrong. Where the pro stocks are running, I think they got them at 6.5 or something like that. And no intercoolers for these guys on the 9,500-pound 4.1 class. The bottom line is it makes for about a 2,000 horsepower difference between all them different variations. Here we go, Adam Stevens out of Shannon. First puller to go to that track here. Well, he's on task puller. Again, he'll have a chance to keep that or turn it down. I see one big change that was made on the Terminator weight transfer machine. Them two big blocks that were sitting on the back of the skid pan on each side, they're gone. That's a huge, huge change. It's just some things. Two of them, they're 2,000 pounds apiece. And they're gone. And we're good to go. Adam Stevens keeps the pull of 310.67. And they keep the sled set. They like that, and we're good to go. Chris Feller will be up next with the Wild Buck John Deere. Here comes Jared, I'm not sorry, Chris Feller's driving Jared Frederick's Wild Buck. Adam Stevens lays down a 310 to open us off here. Chris Feller going to be doing the driving on the Wild Buck. Jared Frederick's machine. He's got her over on the left of center. We haven't seen anybody get real risky and put it right on the sidelines throughout the whole night. Nice pull. Chris Feller doing the driving there. All right, I got Derek Gilbertson from the Fair Board here, going to tell us about what's going on here tomorrow at the Green County Fair.
We got the local pull starting at 10 a.m. and trying to be done by 3. We got the pit party for the monster trucks starting at 5, going till 6, and then the monster trucks are at 7.
Monster trucks, you got 2 of them here.
We got 4
You got 4 of them?
out of the 6.
Oh boy, what are they going to do?
Crush stuff.
Crush stuff. In other words, don't park where you shouldn't park.
Exactly.
They'll move it, put it on the track, and we're going to crush it with a monster truck. What monster trucks do we have?
I don't know.
Okay, because I know there's many names of them out there running around. Well, that'll be cool. We used to see monster trucks a lot, 20 years ago, and then they kind of went off on their own thing. And we was up at the Churning Dirt pull up in Richland Center a few years ago, and they had a monster truck up there, and boy, he just tore the snot out of everything he could get a hold of. They even pulled Jason Schultz's car out there, and they smashed that too. That was great. Yeah, thank you, Derek. Wow, 310.44 for the Wild Buck. Chris Feller puts it in the lead by 9 feet. I'm sorry, 319.44. Puts him in the lead by 9 feet over Adam Stevens. Bill Smith from Darlington will be backing up to the sled now with his 60-30 John Deere that he calls high maintenance. Monster trucks tomorrow night. Them things are always interesting. They're always looking for something to crush too. So if you park where you shouldn't, they'll probably drag your car out of where it's not supposed to be and put it on the track and let the monster trucks have at it. But he said they got a pit party going on. That's where you can come down on the track and meet the drivers and look the trucks over up close, get your pictures taken. That's always fun for the little tykes. And big tykes too, because they're pretty cool. Bill Smith getting it after it. And he played with the throttle a couple, 3 times off the line trying to get her hooked up. I think it may have worked for him too, because he got down there in good fashion. Oh, and it worked well for him. 322.42 moves into the number 1 spot. 322.42 puts him in the lead by 3 feet. But he hit the throttle a couple, 3 times right off the line trying to get her hooked up, and I think that might have worked out well for him as it puts him into the lead by 3 feet. John Meyer Jr. from Judah coming up next. Well, John Meyer Jr. backing up to the sled now with the Meyer Performance R&D machine, 1206 Farm On. And John, he builds a lot of stuff for a lot of pullers, and he's been having some pretty good success too. I don't know if he won a high stakes puller or finished in the top 3 here in the last few weeks. All right, local puller, John Meyer Jr. For John Meyer Jr. has to go to the other side of 322. Oh, had to go to the other side of 322. How about 332? Your new leader. Whoa, 10 feet. John Meyer Jr. takes over the number 1 spot. 332.92. Wow, what a tremendous pass. Bill Smith was looking pretty good with that 322 for 1 tractor. And then John Meyer Jr. has come up and laid waste to that by 10 feet. This here going to be Trent Gerlach with the G-Force machine coming up out of Stockton, driving the Gerlach family pulling tractor, Trent Gerlach. And boy, John Meyer Jr. just laid down the gauntlet. He says, take that, guys. See what you guys can do with that. Here we go, Trent Gerlach on the Gerlach family 1066. They call it the G-Force. Not to be outdone, Trent Gerlach makes a very competitive pass. Well, Trent Gerlach, he goes 328.44. That's going to put him in second place. Nice pull for him. 328.44. Not going to catch John Meyer's 332, but boy, he got ahead of Bill Smith. He got to be happy with that. I know I would be. We'll have Alex Hazard coming up next with the Red Express. Heron and Hazard family machine. These guys, they've been out running around all over the country. I think they were out in Benson, North Carolina last weekend. Somebody said that was 1,000 miles, 1,030 or something like that one way. Oh boy. And I think they're leading the points for the Fent High Stakes Series that has a couple of poles yet to be contested. They haven't won one, I don't believe, but they've had some very consistent finishes that have put them at the top of the heap. We have Benson, North Carolina. That's a long haul. Especially when you got to go over a couple mountain passes to get there. Here we go, the Red Express. This is Alec Hazard doing the driving tonight. Sometimes we see Jordan Heron running it. Once in a while we see Ray Heron running it. Hell, a very competitive pass, but I don't think he's going to catch our leaders on this one. 320.66. 320.66 looks to me like about a fourth place run thus far. 320.66. Halfway through the class, halfway through our last class of the night. We're whittling them away. Now this next guy coming up here, he's an unknown quantity to me. Comes all the way up from Marine, Illinois. That's down southern Illinois. That's we go mini rod pulling down that way, and that's a 5-hour haul all the way down there. This is Russ Becker with a 2255 Oliver. He calls it Sparky, so I believe it must have a 3208 cat in it, which makes it even a little bit more different than that. And besides the fact he comes all the way up from southern Illinois. But we're glad to have him here at the Green County Fair. Something makes me think that he might come up this way and spend a little time at Engel King Dyno Service. Because them Oliver guys, you know, they kind of hang together pretty good. So this ought to be pretty good. Something a little bit different than our red and our green. Russ Becker from Marine, Illinois. 2255 Oliver. And it does indeed have a 3208 cat motor in it. So it's going to sound different and look different. All right, Russ Becker, all the way up from Marine, Illinois. Yeah, you get your Rand McNally out and look down Mount Pleasant Hill. That's down Jerseyville. That's where you're at. Listen to the Caterpillar. That's an impressive run for a horse of a different color. Boy, that's probably one of the best runs I've seen out of a turbocharged diesel Cat. Well, I guess you travel 6 hours or whatever it was to get up here. You don't want to be messing around. And he wasn't 318.29. 318.29 for Russ Becker. And his Caterpillar powered Oliver. That's a nice run. That's impressive because, you know, sometimes guys try something a little bit different just to be different. And, you know, it's met with very lukewarm success, but by golly, he wasn't messing around. That thing run good. And he's running, and the thing is, you know, your measuring stick, he's running against some of the best in the nation right here tonight. So, you measure yourself up against the best in the nation and you run that well, you know your program is quite on track. Yeah, that 318, that very competitive run. Let's see, John, let's see where we at here. John Meyer leads this thing at 332. Trent Gerlach second at 328. Bill Smith third at 322. Alex Hazard fourth at 320. I'm not going to trust my Platteville High School math any further than that. Aaron Geitzel from Heartland, 2290 case. And this is a true case. It's not a repowered case. It's a true case. Them case guys, they're kind of like the Oliver guys. They stick together pretty tight. Stay true to their lines. All right, there we go. Green on the sled. Be ready to go send Aaron Geitzel down the track with his case. A true case, too, I might add. .06. That's good enough for 8th place, I believe, for Aaron Geitzel. 308.06. 3 tractors to go. They're all good ones, too. Tony McDonald coming up next out of Darlington with Well Spent. He'll be followed by Bryce Rickliffs with the Red Revolver, and then Collinear with the Badge and Deer, rounding out our class here tonight. Here we go, Tony McDonald with Well Spent. He's a past champion on the Badger State circuit, a past champion on the Silver Series circuit of the PPL. He'll be a good candidate to test our leading distance here. Our leading distance, John Meyer Jr. at 3:32, the number one spot. He's been sitting there with since the fourth hook of the class. And I imagine John Meyer Jr. standing around someplace close by, keeping a watch on things, because this is one to be concerned with. Tony McDonald from Darlington. Like it ain't hooking up yet. He pumped the throttle one time, let them tires get hooked up, and away he went. Boy, that's a split-second decision too. Yeah, I mean, you don't plan on that, but you do it if you need to. Oh boy, he had to beat 3:32. Tony McDonald goes 334 feet, .2, your new leader. How about that? By 2 feet, he goes into the lead. Not even 2 feet, about 1.5 feet. Nice job, Tony McDonald, and that was driving there. Yeah, I wasn't watching the big screen. Ryan Zolik's replaying it for us. Maybe Ryan will do that one more time for us. And you can watch Tony yank the throttle back real quick off the start line. Watch the smoke. It stops, and then he hits it again. That was a superb job of driving for Tony McDonald. There it is off the starting line. Yeah, I can't really see it there. Bryce Rickliff's coming up next. The Red Revolver machine comes out of Anamosa, Iowa. And he was our winner when we started this thing off way back in the end of May, I guess, really. But yeah, we started the season off the very end of May in Sauk City, Wisconsin, and Bryce Rickliff was the winner with the Red Revolver machine. Here we go, Bryce Rickliff out of Anamosa, Iowa, the red revolver. 50, he's got it stickered up as a 1566. Black stripe. Well, how far did we go with Bryce Rickliff anyway? He went 326.25, 326.25. Good run. I think that's I don't know what, fourth place. One more tractor to run. Colin Lear with the Badger Deer. And I think we got to wish a happy birthday to Jim Lilburn. Jim Lilburn, it's his birthday. Where are you at, Jim? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You're almost as old as the Badger State tractor pullers have been around. No, you're older than that. You know what? You're as old as Larry Hawthorne's been pulling tractors, I think. 65, right? Colin Lear with the Badger Deer be our last tractor of the night. He comes on out to the track. Here we go, the Badger Deer, last tractor to go here tonight. This here is going to be Colin Lear. He's a good, strong runner. Our distance to beat, where are we at? Who's our leader here? John Meyer Jr. still leading with, oh no, Tony McDonald got around him at 3:34. Yeah, Tony McDonald's our leader with well spent. to get it. We'll see what the measurement has to say. And as you folks head on out of here, I thank you for coming out and enjoying the pull here tonight. And thank goodness that we got the Canadian forest fire smoke out of the way. I'll settle for some turbocharged diesel smoke any day. Here we go. Colin Lear goes 318.03, 318.03. And here's how they're going to finish up. Your winner's going to be Tony McDonald with Well Spent. That was a tremendous job of driving to take the win here tonight. John Meyer Jr., well, he held the lead for a long time. He was at 3:32. Trent Gerlach, nice pull for him tonight. Finishes in third. Bryce Rickfless with the red revolver, fourth place. Fifth place goes to Bill Smith on high maintenance. Alex Hazard driving a Red Express, sixth place here tonight. The Wild Buck, Chris Feller, seventh. And Russ Becker with that 3208 Caterpillar, Sparky's Pride, eighth place. But boy, that baby run good. Thanks for coming up and pulling with us, Russ. You got a nice running tractor. Colin Lear with the Badger Deer, ninth place. Adam Stevens finishes in 10th. And Aaron Geitzel rounds out the class at 11th. A great class of pulling here tonight. And over in the beer tent until 11:30, we got Cherry Pie playing. That's a band. Just saying. And I don't know if we ought to have some live music on the infield here. I don't think these guys are going anywhere anytime soon. You guys can stick around and tear it up. We're not going to run you off, I don't think. They're still cooking food over there here on the infield side. We might be having a pit party for a while over here the way this looks. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Monster trucks tomorrow night. You'll want to see that. And garden tractor pull in the morning. And farm stock after that.
At the same time.
Oh, at the same time. Okay, so it'll be a busy day. You're not going to get the day off tomorrow.
No.
Okay, and are you in charge are you the road commissioner around here in charge of tearing up all the roads right before the fair?
I am not.
Okay, just point that out. They did that,
Yeah, that was well-deserved on their part.
Hey, at least you're getting your roads fixed. You ought to live in Illinois. They just throw cold patch on them and they're done. They call that repair. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you at the Fall Nationals. So long, everybody.